Okay, it looks like I'm live. So, what I want to talk about now, I'm interrupting my little dome build right now, is I just got this in my office actually Monday, but I didn't go into the office till today. So, what this is a wireless LED display base. So, it's plasticky. You feel, there's two pieces to this. Uh, Let me start off with the bottom piece first. So this is um, this is the base. It's got a little connector here, and this doesn't actually seat all the way in, so you have this exposed metal here, which is fantastic. It's yeah, that's about as far as it goes in. So there's a little on-off button here, and the little LEDs are here. So if I drop a couple of LEDs out here, let me get some tweezers and grab this LED. Now you can see that the space is, about 21 centimeters squared. If I not don't include this piece, or 1 inches, it's about 8.5 inches, square. These LEDs are about 4.5 millimeters in size. So they're not terribly small, but they're not terribly big either. So you can see that if I have them on the just sitting on the base, there's nothing going on right now. Now, if I push this button, you'll see that they turn on. And again, if I pick up these uh, LEDs, as I lift up, you'll see that it gets out of that magnetic field that it creates here for this inductive powering. So if you look at the bottom of these LEDs, you can see that there's a little inductive coil here. You really can't see that, but I can. You could probably build these yourself. You know, get the base, and if you need more LEDs, you could probably build these yourself. Just go to a couple of those electronics shops, and they actually sell the little coiled base that you can just solder a surface mount LED onto this, and you create a bunch of them. And they're probably about, depending on how much you buy, a buck a piece for one of these. And you just surface mount LEDs are cheap. So you notice that if I take this out here, out of this magnetic field, that's when it turns off. Hopefully you can see that. So you can see that when I drag it across here, it'll turn off. If I go up high enough, it'll turn off. Now what I found with this piece is this helps contain that magnetic field a little bit, so that when you go up a little bit, you're going to have continued power, right? You can see that it's gone considerably higher than before. If I take this piece out, you're going to have the power go out. So this also feels like a piece of plastic. It's probably just some piece of metal in there that's just contained this field around here. So what's cool about this is I could use this as a display base to put all these LEDs on here. So these are two white LEDs, and if I move, this is where the other LEDs are. So if I pop some of these out, I could show you some blue LEDs that came with the kit. Let's see here. It also came with some pink LEDs. So hopefully this is kind of showing up on at least most of the cameras. So I figured the best way to do this was, kind of a 3-camera shoot, so you can see it from different angles and see how this is all working. Green LED. And what's really cool is it's not gonna change. It's not going to take power away from some of the other LEDs when you put a different LED on here. So they're pretty independent. So that's kind of an amber. And oh, there's another. And here's a red LED. As I try to stack it up. Actually, I might have another LED in here. Let me take a look here. Aha! Now this is my, I guess this is my amber. That's more of the yellow. So let's see here. Does that take into account all the LEDs I could possibly have here? Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the set comes with 14 LEDs, which is kind of cool. Now, I'm not going to really use this as, permanent display for any of my kits. I tend to wire up all my LEDs like so. So, as a little example, let me grab a battery. I don't have a battery lying somewhere around here. And basically what I do is, I'll wire something up and have it lit on the eye, right? Or wherever I want this LED to sit. Now, what's nice about this is I could use this as kind of a planning tool. So this is a dome head that I worked on, and this is just right out of the box. Now, if I were to take this piece off here, and let me grab a little piece of sticky tack. So heat that up a little bit. So I have a little bit of sticky tack in my eye. Let's pick a red LED. Let's just stick that on here, like so, right? So then I'm gonna mount this guy here. And I kind of have a quick and dirty look of what my eyes can be, well, what the LED would look like if I set it in there. So I don't have to drill anything, I don't have to wire anything. I already have a quick way to test whether I like this color here, or maybe I want a different color. Maybe I want to use a blue LED and stick that in there. And this is great for planning out a build. Hopefully this is nice and unfocused now. There we go. As I drop it. Let me take some of these LEDs off of here so that it's not confusing the light here or the camera. So you can see these LEDs are still running in this magnetic field out here. But this will actually display better on that camera. You can see from different angles how this works. So I have a question from Josh there, is how far from the base can you get before they lose power? So again, this little piece right here helps increase that magnetic field. And it's been running for however long this video has been running for, and this is warm. So I don't necessarily know how hot this thing will get. So again, to the idea that this is great for testing stuff, I'm just going to show Viper here how far this LED will go away from the base and be powered up. And I think depending on the LED itself, depending on how much power consumption the LED requires, you get decently far from it. So that's what, about, see here, about 3 to 4 inches, 3.5 inches away from the base. So if I go upwards, I get about the same, 3.5 inches away from the base before it starts losing power. So that's my magnetic field here that's in play. Oops, sorry, I kind of wiped this thing off. But this is a pretty cool little tool, and you see that hopefully you can see some of these LEDs out here are still all lit up because they're not that far away from this magnetic field. Now I'm wondering if on the bottom, yes, if I put this under this, I will still have that magnetic field. If you think about the magnetic field as kind of a sphere almost. Well, it's not necessarily a sphere, but it's there are definitely hot spots and where power is stronger. So it's not getting too warm on this piece itself, but this piece is getting warm. You definitely feel it warming up. I know the seller was having issues earlier that I bought this from Samuel Decal, and they're having issues earlier production models that this was overheating. So it's not getting overly hot. It's nice and warm. I mean, it's a cold winter day, so this is actually kind of welcome right now. But I'm not sure if this is like a long-term display, if this is a good idea, being how warm it gets. But it's still, if I'm sitting a dome on here, and I just want to kind of put his head together and to see how that LED looks. Maybe I want to have him hold on to a bunch of LEDs in his hands. Now what's interesting here is I have a magnet in his hand because of what I'm gonna do with the project. So I'm curious on how this affects the magnet. See? So as soon as it comes in contact with the magnet, it shuts off because that magnetic field is messing with it. So as I get close to that magnet, I'm losing that power. Hopefully you guys could see that. So it's one of those things that you need to account for when you're working on something with this, is that if you have another magnetic object in there, it's going to mess with the field. Now what I can really do to display this is I have a crap ton of magnets in here, and I'll just put this right on top of here, and the light will shut off. Take the magnet away, it'll come back on. So just for if you guys are working on something like this, it's one of those kind of things that are it's good to know. So again, I could stick this on here. I could maybe apply little lights onto the booster and see how I like the lights under the boosters, and stick an LED under there and have it lit and see, okay, how do I like that? And again, I'm basically going to use this as a planning tool for when I build projects. But it's kind of a fun little toy, I guess, to have, because it's as a quick little display piece, I could mount a bunch of HGUC kits or a bunch of maybe a stack of master grades, and I know my field of power is around here. I can line them up and just have them all blinking at each other. So Piper's asking if there's a controller. Controller as in on-off button. I mean, there is an on-off button at the back. You turn it on, turn it off. Other than maybe controlling the lights, we could probably work in a microprocessor that will kind of change the lights, but by itself, no. There's no control to kind of power different lights on or off. Or I guess you could probably build in something, some kind of way to manipulate the magnetic field. Again, you run a magnet around here and you turn things off, or something like that. Or even maybe a piece of metal that's magnetic that will interrupt this field. So there's a lot of discussion on a Reddit page that I posted this on, because there's a lot of smart guys out there, like they're analyzing this and they're figuring out that hey, we could build these ourselves. So yes, we can. And I'm sure if you guys ever have those AirPods, those expensive wireless earpods that just plug into this little like capsule that charges. That's charging by this type of technology. It's wirelessly charging, magnetic. It's like an induction coupling. So stuff like electric toothbrushes that charge on a little stand, because that tends to get wet. You don't want to electrify people when they're trying to charge a damn toothbrush. That's the same type of technology. Electric razors. I mean, I have a phone, my iPad, my iPhone, and my Samsung have a wireless charger bit that you just place it on top of the little charging thing, and it wirelessly charges. Same technology here. So it's not we're not irradiating anything. I'm not getting well, I'm probably getting cancer somehow anyways, but I'm not. It's not. I don't think it's there's no radio waves coming on here. But this is technology that we're already using. It's usually around the house that we're not really thinking about until you have an LED that's kind of a constant on. Instead of charging a piece of technology, it's just turning on a light, which is pretty damn cool. So, any of you guys on there have any questions about stuff? I mean, what I did at work is I put a bunch of these in my hand and I just kind of, moved in and out of the base like this and kind of turned them all on. And depending on the light or LED, the power consumptions, different lights will turn on at different times. We'll go up a little higher and it'll turn on and off like so. This is about the same temperature as before, so it's not getting any hotter. I mean, there's no danger of this melting. I mean, this feels like cheap plastic. I mean, this is a Chinese reverse engineered Japanese product that came out, a couple of years ago as a GoFund. It's like a Japanese GoFundMe site was showing up on this. And I guess these guys went and bought one and reverse engineered it. Which, I mean, if you're looking at this, and anyone electromechanically inclined can figure this one out. This is not that difficult. I mean, we'll just go to your roommate, your wife's toothbrush, and take that bit apart and see how that works. It's basically the same technology. I mean, don't recommend you taking apart their earbuds to do this unless you really hate Apple. And there's cheaper alternatives out there. But it feels kind of magic, but the technology has been around for a while. Have you guys ever watched the Prestige, where Tesla does this stuff with light bulbs? Now, this induction electricity, wireless electricity, has been around since 1900. So, yeah, this is not new, but for some of us, it's like, ooh, this is pretty cool, and it is pretty cool. I wish I had a kit over here that I could pop up and just kind of display, but again, I showed the mono eye bit, and again, this works really well for planning out things. So since I have like a thruster here, if I don't want to waste the space that I want, throw a little LED together, throw this bit in here, and just stick the LED under here, and I have my quick and dirty just LED color display. So if I'm working on something like this where it's a thruster and maybe I don't like the color that of a pure white, I'll take a couple of different colors and see how that meshes up with that. Each color has a different brightness level, So I'm gonna get something that looks a little different, and decide from there. And it's quicker than getting a couple of LEDs together, a battery set, and some wires just to do this quick and dirty test. So I keep reiterating that, I'm going to use this as a kind of planning help. I think a red kind of looks kind of cool here too. Now turn off the lights in my workshop or my immediate desk just so that this could be easily seen or seen better. So hopefully this is coming across on the videos and not overly blurry. So Ranger Chris is asking, I wonder how it's generating the field. So I'm pretty sure it's just an electromagnet that's in the base that's creating this field around here. So if you've ever taken apart a wireless charger, that's basically the technology there. So if you take apart a wireless charger, and you know what? I have a wireless charger. I'm tempted to go bring that upstairs and see if I could power that with this. Huh. All right, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to go get my wireless charger. Okay, that was quick. All right. So this is a Samsung wireless charger bit, right? So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to plug this into a power supply of some sorts. And let's see. Nope, this does not work. So I don't have the correct either power coming from here. I'm sure I could probably take it apart somehow. And oh, look at that. So this was blinking. So you see that? That's blinking. If I orient it just so, or find the right spot for it, so I can get a bunch of these to start blinking. So this is a cool little test. I'm glad I thought about this. This is hilarious. So let's see if I could find a better spot for some of these. It's a specific power range. So hopefully you guys can kind of see these LEDs kind of blinking. Well, this one's blinking. Yeah, you can see that it's blinking. So, I mean, this thing's not on. If I turn it on, this, everything else here has the field going on, and this guy is still blinking. Hey, they're all blinking. That's that's kind of a cool trick. Science. Fun shit to do at night when you're bored and you have a new toy and you get done with work and you say, hey, let's live broadcast this crap. So let's see if I move this around. Now, if I move this up, let's see how much of a... See, I still get the blinking thing as I move further, and some of the other lights are turning off. So I put this back on here. Let's turn the power off. So I'm still getting my 3 blinky lights around the center of my wireless cell phone charger. See, look at that. How cool is that? So you don't necessarily have to spend 100 or about $100 on one of these base and light bits, and you could kind of build your own. I mean, it's going to blink, but you can take this apart and figure out how it's powering something up. Or actually, go to one of those electronic online shops like, Spark Fun or something like that. And they have little kits that you could mess with stuff like this. Wireless charging, or even your local Fry's or electronics stores will have little kits that can start up something like this. So it's going to power something else. You could use it to power LEDs. Knowing the LED input power, you could adjust this and power any number of LEDs this way. So this is this is kind of fun. Yeah. So Viper's saying that, what if I put my cell phone on the space and see if it charges? That's actually, I'm not going to do that. That sounds like a very bad idea to try. But you know what? When I turn off the video, I'm probably going to try that. So, yeah. Now I know that this is actually pulsing energy out to the phone. It's not a constant stream of energy like the space is. The space is a constant field, power field. It's the base is probably draining more power than what this does. So this is kind of something interesting to see. Anyone have any questions? Anyone have something they want to see other than me burning down my cell phone? Where can you get this? I've been linking this all day long. Samuel Decal. They're in Hong Kong. Again, this is a Chinese knockoff of a Japanese, or not knockoff, reverse engineered product of a Japanese product. Now, I was posting responses to some people saying that, again, this is reverse Chinese engineered stuff, and my level of trust for any of this stuff is the same level of trust I have for any product I buy from Harbor Freight, because most of the products in Harbor Freight are reverse engineered Chinese products of, fantastically designed tools. So I know that I've had a couple of products that will break if I even go near half the tolerances of the original product, or actually even half the tolerances of the product itself. So with that said, you get what you pay for. So, but for what I paid for this, I think this is pretty cool to experiment with. I know a couple of people have posted videos about this online, and this just recently started shipping from Samuel Decal. It was originally supposed to ship in October, but again, they ran into manufacturing problems and whatnot, overheating problems. So if I finally got this thing Monday, it arrived to my office Monday, which is pretty cool because it's Chinese New Year's, and they shipped it right before Chinese New Year's happened. So I was able to get this thing and show you guys what this is doing now. This is pretty damn cool. Turn it back on. Again, this will heat up nicely. I have more of my lights blinking as they work in concert with the pulsing magnet in here. This is damn cool. So I know this was, I stated that this was going to be a kind of a quick and dirty video. So if you guys didn't catch this live, it's on the YouTube page. So check it out when you guys have time. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching, guys.